Jared, you're so sleek. Mikey and Jared, they're making beats.
Hello and welcome to week 5 of Slick Picks. We're talking about week 4 in the NFL. And we have the infamous, the one and only, one of a kind, Dylan Philman with us, Miami Dill. Thank you for joining us. And he turns on the camera. I mean, there's only one guy like him, and of course we had to have him on this week. We always have him on for this matchup. So thank you for joining us.
Mikey, Jason, thank you for having me back on for another year of Slick Picks, my favorite podcast. The winningest guy in the history of the show is back with maybe the easiest 3 bets I've had since I've been on the show. Guaranteed.
You're saying you had those for this week?
Yeah, I mean, I've been on the show, I think, 4 or 5 times, and this is the most confident I've been in 3 picks.
I love to hear it. Jared, how are you feeling about your picks this week?
I feel like I have to say great after he did that. I feel like he's talking directly at me. But if we're in the trust tree, I'm not loving it. I'm not feeling great after last week. Real bad beatdown with that Bears pick. I'm ashamed to say I even said that would happen. Apologies to all the listeners. I think I went 0-3. So I'm pretty sad about betting. I'm pretty happy about the Bills. But we're going to bounce back this week. Nowhere to go but up.
We always said the first few weeks are just guessing, right? Just throwing darts on the board, seeing what sticks, right?
They're guessing only when you do bad.
Yep. And then when you hit, you're a fucking genius, right? With that in mind, we're getting to, a decent chunk in the season. I feel like we kind of start to know who some of these teams are. Like, for example, I think maybe like the Cardinals have kind of showed a little bit who they are. They're going to play in these games. They're not just going to roll over for teams.
Yeah.
Where we had what'd you say?
The Bears are bad.
Yeah, we know the Bears are bad. I think they're way worse than people expected. These teams are starting to come into shape, I think that helps us a lot here. The Lions are back, which is very exciting. I had a loaded pistol in my mouth after the Seahawks game. But after the Falcons game, I was just shooting that bad boy in the air, feeling fucking good. When your team wins by 2 scores, it feels amazing. I can't imagine what it must have been like to have my team, win by 50 something? What did the Broncos?
Yeah, we won by 7. It was a 7-score ball game. They cut after the kick return touchdown in the 4th quarter. They cut it to 7 scores. That's when I started to get a little bit nervous. But it's not that I'm not used to. Just kind of another week doing the same thing.
It is. You've never been like this. It's never been like this.
It's nothing new for me, at least.
About?
Nothing new for me. Just watching the boys go out there and make it look easy. I do want to start off. Can I start off with a quick stat for you, Mikey? Because I know you're a big stat guy.
Absolutely. I love stats.
Tua's EPA is better without Tyreek Hill than with Tyreek Hill by quite a large margin, actually. So when Tyreek Hill's not on the field, Tua's better.
So it's a system.
No, it's actually, you know what? It is the system, dude, and the system's fucking working, dude. You're a part of the system. You're a corporate huge.
Yeah. The Brock Purdy of the AFCs is what I'm hearing.
The Brock Purdy of the AFCs
right now, and I'd have to concur.
I like that.
No, that's actually sick. I had not heard that. It's almost hard to believe, but I'm sure you didn't just pull it out of your ass. I'm sure it's real. It's a crazy stat. You want to know what was crazy? That Vikings game that you guys were at, because I had the Vikings -1.5, and whatever luck they had last year, they used it all up. It's done. 2 times with 5 minutes left to go in the game. Twice they were in the red zone and they couldn't punch it in. Oof.
It was such a good game, but I think watching it, it didn't seem like either team was good. It seemed like bad football that turned out to be exciting. I don't know if you felt the same way, Jared.
Yeah, it felt like Keenan Allen was really, really good and everyone else was not. It was like a mediocre day for me as a Herbert hater because he cut him up. But the only reason he threw a game-winning touchdown was it bounced off of a defender's hands into his receiver's hands. That's the only way that guy can win a game. So I thought that was very poetic that I got to witness that scumbag win that way because that's the only way he knows how to win.
Looking up on the screen, I couldn't believe he had 405 yards. I was shocked. It didn't feel that way. And then you looked up and he was over 400. I agree with Jared for the first time maybe ever.
You know that the Barstool does that thing, it's called Rough and Rowdy, where they get like the bozos, the box. Like that's what that game was. It was not, it was entertaining as hell. You couldn't take your eyes off it, but it wasn't like high quality, athleticism. I mean, it obviously was. These guys are freak athletes, but they're playing bad football. Like I remember like pointing to Rachel, I'm like, this isn't football. This is like goofiness. And she's like, I don't know, it looks like football to me. I'm like, if you know football, this isn't how it's supposed to be played. Like
It was a Pac-12 game. It was a
Yes.
Big 12 game where there's the defense is ass and the quarterbacks are on cocaine.
mhm.
Something even goofier than the football game was we were with Birdman Steve, and I watched him get jumped by 8 Chargers kids after the game, all ages 4 through 6.
Yeah.
And the only reason he got out because he got kicked right in the groin, but the guy's got no balls, so he was completely fine.
Oh, thank God. I
Yeah.
was worried. I was really worried for him.
That's
We'll have to
crazy.
have him come on and sort of give his debrief on what's going on with the Vikings in one of these coming weeks, but I don't know if he wants to.
When the Chargers receiver scored that game-winning touchdown, he called them the N-word had to be 5-6 times. It was crazy, man.
That's
That's
not,
like the
and if
lunatic-
I'm being honest,
that's
that's
the
not really
lunatic.
Steve's MO usually either.
We've all
It is.
been in a state of chaos, and when I do that, I usually scream into a pillow, and he just screamed the N-word.
No,
Not okay.
To be
I will
fair-
say I said it was a little far.
I mean, he is
Yeah.
in Minnesota, so it's probably the safest place he could do that.
Yeah,
He got a couple high fives after, I think.
yeah, he did. He did.
Oh my God, that's actually unreal. Yeah, we got to have him on sooner than later because I don't know if I want that exact energy, but I like people who are emotional giving
Yeah.
picks. Speaking about being emotional, I feel a type of way about this guy named Brian Branch. You might have heard of him. Somehow he fell to the second round to the Lions, and he's going to be my prop bet for this week for underdog. I've hit every prop bet I've given this year. Like I said, we're going to sweep the year. Just believe in me. It is 4 tackles. He needs to get 4 tackles in this game. He had 10 tackles last week. He's averaging 5 tackles a game. He broke a record that I'll talk about later in the podcast. But Brian Branch is him. Brian Branch is going to be the steal of the draft. I can go on and on. We have probably a top 3 GM in the league, and life's good right now. Life's good.
Yeah, I like that. By
By the way, promo code SLICK. Sometimes I forget to actually say the promo code. Use it. You will match your first deposit. You will help us produce the show. And not only that, Underdog is giving away free picks every week. So you can just do this Brian Branch plus the free pick they give every week, and you can turn $10 into $30 instantly. It's that easy. So go do it. I mean, it'd really be a shame if you missed out on that. So let's actually hit these picks, huh?
Let's do it.
Or use promo code Dylan, bet Waddle over yards. I don't know what number it is, but whatever it is, just bet the
I'll
over
pull up
yards.
that number for you right now. And while I'm pulling up that number, let's shake it up a little bit this week. Would you like to start off for us?
Start off the picks on your show, Mikey.
I feel like you're a part of the show. Like I feel like
Wow.
it doesn't feel any different. Like you are,
I
your
disagree.
house, my house. Two
I
casa, mi casa.
Usually goes you, then
Take your
Jason, then
shoes
you,
off.
but-
Take your shoes off.
Get
I
comfy.
disagree.
Well, my first pick of the week is a line that hasn't, I haven't seen it hadn't got put up. Josh Allen over turnovers in the Dolphins-Bills game. It's going to be put at something
You can't
like
do a prop.
No, you can do a prop.
can't
You
do
can
that.
So what do we do? We'll do it over an interception. Like he's gonna have
it's
one
going to
interception.
be 1.5 turnovers. It is every game. The week 1, he was over 0.5 interceptions. That hit big time. The guy fumbles every game and makes 1 or 2 throws that you're like, wow, I wouldn't make that throw. And I don't know how to throw football. Well, I do. Jared doesn't. Jason doesn't. So I think whatever the Josh Allen over is, it's probably going to be plus money. Just take the over on turnovers. The Dolphins got an exciting defense. Javon Holland's the number 1 rated safety in the league. We have a decent pass rush. Andrew Van Ginkel is the best pass rusher in the league. He's going to turn the ball over. I don't care. It'll probably be like 3 fumbles. And then people will be like, he didn't throw a pick, because that's what Josh Allen fans have been doing for the last however many years he's in the league, because he fumbles 8 times in a game, throws no picks, and they're like, he didn't throw 1 pick today. Well, he will fumble. I guarantee at least 1 fumble and we get the ball, but there'll be at least a pick too.
Rent free from a guy who owns your goddamn franchise. What is he, like 7-1 against the Dolphins? 9-2, something like that. Guys beat them one time last year in a game. It was 250 degrees outside.
Oh my! It was too hot to play football. Wow.
It was too hot to play football. Miami
Unbelievable.
Dolphins maybe have the cheapest gimmick at their stadium where they are in the shade and then the other team is not. And the other team's not allowed to bring their big fans because it blocks their fans because they built it too low. What a joke. You're a joke, and your franchise is a joke, brother.
Oh, yeah. You win all your Super Bowls. You know what I don't think's fair? The Dolphins live in Miami. The players live in Miami all year, which is like 100 degrees all year, super hot, super nice. We have to go up north for every division game and play in the snow. Why is that not talked about? But I live in Rochester, New York. I've dealt with 120-degree heat when it comes to the index or whatever. Okay, 110-degree heat when it comes to the heat index, plus with humidity. Yeah,
no, you haven't.
When it's 98 degrees here, it's 110. So it happens once a summer. So you've lived here. So people up here know how to deal with that weather, but people in Miami don't know how to deal with negative 20 degrees. We have to play it every year. I don't want to hear that we have an advantage because of our fucking stadium. It's the dumbest shit in the world. You guys lost. Josh Allen couldn't throw to a wide open guy on a 2-point conversion or a fourth down. It was embarrassing. And then you guys have no clock management skills. You lost. I'm sorry. Should have lost the second game too, but we played in the snow. I didn't complain about the snow after the game. You threw snowballs at Tua. I didn't complain about the snow, but you complain about the heat.
Josh Allen has a passer rating of 106.1 with 2,684 yards, 27 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions in 10 games versus the Dolphins in his career. That's 2.7 touchdowns per game. That is half a turnover per game. And that's the stat. So that's a good pick, though. That's a really, really good
50-50 chance, right?
Did that show his fumbles or no?
They don't count the fumbles on stat.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what to tell you, brother.
Point.
I don't know what to tell
also,
you.
that passer rating, that's like Tua's career passer rating. Like, the whole time he's been in the league. So I don't want to hear any fucking nonsense out of you, dude. Whatever, man. Why don't you have to care about my pick? It's over 1.5 turnovers or whatever it is. Make it 5.5. It's over that.
He actually threw 3 of his only 5 picks in his first 2 games as a rookie. So that if in 8 games, it's 2 picks and 22 touchdowns. So that's pretty good too.
That's actually, I looked it up last year. He has over a fumble a game since he played the Dolphins. I actually think it's closer to 2 fumbles a game. And I swear to God, I had to look at each game and count his fumbles because they don't keep that stat for some reason. A fumble is worse than a pick. A pick usually a pick 15 yards down the field. A fumble is behind the line usually.
I will say, Allen has mastered the arm punt. That guy will just, it's third and 8.
Really good one last week.
3rd and 8, that guy's like, I'm fucking launching this because it's a punt. I don't give a fuck about interceptions. It's actually hysterical. He has no, and I just traded for the guy in Dynasty. So I'm not, I think he's a good quarterback, obviously. He has no concerns. He just hucks it.
That's another thing Bills fans do. They call it arm punts, so that instead it doesn't count as an interception. The way that they fucking try to make him look like he's not the 16th best quarterback in the league is unbelievable. But it's fine. He's top 16. I'll give it that.
Yeah. 3rd and 20, around the 40-yard line, their own side. Next play, it's 1st and 10 for the other team inside their own 8. That's a great punt. That's a great punt. You can't punt it like that. The Bills don't get a punter because they know they got Josh Allen.
Ryan Lindell, that was a good punter.
It's not even a punter. It's Brian Mormon.
Oh, that guy was fast.
This guy doesn't know ball.
89 Madden. 89 speed Madden. Ryan Lindell or Brian Mormon. Unbelievable.
Jared, do you have any picks?
Decade. I brought 3 picks.
Okay, yeah. Let's hear your first pick of the day.
Brian Mormon should be in the Hall of Fame. First pick is, did I learn my lesson last week?
Please do not pick the Bears.
It's not the Bears.
Okay.
Bears, but it is the biggest spread on the board. Cardinals plus 14. I didn't even write down who it was. I just wrote down 2 touchdowns. It's crazy.
Yeah, 49ers.
49ers. I was going to guess the 49ers. The 49ers have been steamrolling teams. The Cardinals are supposed to be bad, but they're playing tough right now. I think 2 touchdowns in the NFL is so crazy. That's incredibly disrespectful this early in the season with both these rosters being as healthy as they are. Josh Dobbs playing great ball. I can't say anything bad about the 49ers. It's just coming from 14 is too crazy. If I see a spread that's multiple scores like that, I want it. and I'm going to take it. I saw this. I immediately wanted to be my lock, but because of what happened last week, I will not do that.
You know what's interesting here? Would you want to consider the first half? Because Cardinals are +7 in the first half, and it feels like they always come out of these games really hot and then fade in the second half.
No, Mikey, I think you should mind your own business. And
All right. Hey, you do you.
He's got an attitude. I don't like it. I'm not a fan. I think the 49ers win by 30. Like and I'm not just saying that. I don't think it would be stop trying to control my camera, Jason. I think the 49ers, I don't think it's gonna be a good game. I think the Cardinals are playing better than they are. I don't think they're good. I think they're a really, really bad football team. And I think the 49ers defense, I'd be shocked if they score 10 points, if the Cardinals score 10 points. Josh Dobbs can't handle that.
My only concern about this pick, or one of my major concerns, I should at least say, is that the Cardinals won. So they could just be like, we did it. Like, our season's over. We got our win. We're not going 0-16, you know? I'm always very scared of bad teams after they won their first game because I question their motivation.
I think that the coach has these guys fired up, and I think if they weren't fired up, they would have looked worse than they are now.
That's true.
You know, I'll give it to the Cardinals later in the season, you know, like week 10 on, when they're like not really playing for anything and they kind of realize they suck. But this team right now, if you ask them, do we suck? They're not going to tell you yes.
Yep.
I'm sure Rondell Moore thinks he's a star. He is very good. Josh Dobbs, first time he's ever getting a starting job, and he's doing everything he can with it.
Mm-hmm.
James Conner is playing good ball, and the defense is hitting. The defense is hitting very hard. I don't think the Cardinals are going to win, but when an NFL team gets 14 points, I think a smart gambler is going to take that.
There's no way you said Jonathan Gannon's firing those guys up. That guy's never.
Dude, they're playing hard.
I agree. I'm with you.
Anybody else?
I'm
Maybe
with
the
you.
club.
If they're not fired up, why are they playing so well?
I don't know, it's
Everyone
the
thought
NFL.
the Cardinals were going to come out and they were going to suck, and they haven't. That's coaching.
Aren't they 1-2?
But
But they've looked damn good for 1 and 2. I'll give Jared
two.
this. I'm surprised with how hard they've played week in and week out. I expected them to already be like thinking about Cancun, but no, they're focused.
They beat the Cowboys. They just beat the Cowboys. And then they get a 14-point spread. That doesn't make much sense to me. Maybe they know something in Vegas I don't. But Dylan's sharing his screen. I get it. That
This guy fired everybody up.
He looks like he's an accountant at Deloitte, and he like just has like nothing on the side. Like, what are his hobbies? Peloton.
Tough. That's tough.
That's what he looks like. But if you know ball, you know ball.
Look at McDaniel.
That's true.
McDaniel looks like he's getting a wedgie. It's like tomorrow.
He's an all-time goofball. I don't want to hear it.
I have a hard time hating on that guy. I liked him the second he arrived there. I can't help myself. I think he's such a cool guy. Cool. All right. I'm going to give out my 1 point play here. And it's a big spread. And it's going to be KC -9.5. I'm going to keep picking against the Jets until the Jets give me a reason not to. This is an offense that's averaging 1 touchdown a game for the Jets. It took the Jets 3 weeks to outscore what Kansas City did last week alone. Let's see here. Joe Namath publicly coming out and like trashing Zach Wilson, and not like lightly, not saying like, oh, he needs to step up a little bit. Like he went up and in on that guy. You got Michael Carter arguing with the running back coach on the side. This team is slowly but surely imploding. We all knew it would happen.
Not that slow.
It's not that slow. You're a good point. We've only had 3 weeks of football so far. It's blowing up, and it's blowing up quick. And I think what's interesting, and I don't think a lot of people saw this coming into the season, is Kansas City might have one of the better defenses in the league, which sounds crazy because like historically they've always been just like Mahomes and a bunch of guys. But, this defense held the Lions to 14 points. We had a defensive touchdown that game. They held the Jaguars to 9 points. I think the Jaguars are a pretty good team. The Lions are a pretty good team offensively as well. And then the Bears are obviously not a great team, but holding any NFL team to 10 points is noteworthy. And that 1 touchdown for Chicago came in an absolute garbage time. So I think Zach Wilson's going to struggle against a good defense, just like he did last week. And I think Kansas City is going to be motivated enough to win by at least 10. I mean, I could see there being some late garbage time touchdowns in this game, but I think that's going to mostly affect the over-under, not the spread. I think Kansas City will go up early and just coast with Pacheco running up the gut.
Yeah,
I agree.
Chiefs figured it out, and everyone knew they would. Taylor Swift being in their corner is not what the NFL needed. Chiefs Kingdom now has the Swifties in their corner.
Mm-hmm.
What we need as NFL fans of other franchises is we need the Swifties to turn on Chief Kingdom and have that royal relationship blow up publicly in everyone's face.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Travis Kelce, starts doing a little worse. Taylor Swift writes a little song about how, the other teams are better. They just continue to plummet. Until that happens, I think Chiefs are a safe bet.
The Chiefs are scary because they lose. I feel like every year they lose one or two games at the beginning of the year, and everybody's like, "Oh, maybe they're not that good this year." Then they win just quietly 9 of the next 10, and they lost that game the first week of the year. That, no offense, they should have won probably. I mean, the Lions are a good team, but they probably should have won.
A win's a win. I always say a win's a win. I don't think we were super impressive week 1.
Yeah, they lost that game, and I don't know. The Chiefs worry me. Anybody's got Pat Mahomes throwing the ball, and the Jets, you're right, they can't score. So if the Chiefs score 20, they might be fine. They just have to score probably 20 points, and they might cover. So I like that bet.
And what I like about this too is that it's still that 9.5. It's not 10.5, which is a totally different game. Yeah, man. And at this point, I also think the fact that it's a home game is actually bad for the Jets at this point, because you're going to get the boo birds coming out. You're going to have people screaming and yelling at Zach Wilson. And it's funny, like, you can tell the fans are trying not to freak out. Like, the first quarter, the fans are usually not on top of him. By quarter 2, the fans are going ape shit and just screaming at the guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm starting to not believe in Saleh, Robert Saleh. I mean,
yes, I got to agree with that too.
You just got to stop. Like, he's just keeps saying this is his team, the way he plays in practice. It's just making him look like an idiot. Like, do anything else. Just put in any guy who's in the league. Put in one of your backups. Try something out. I've seen this with the Dolphins so many years in a row where we had shit quarterbacks and we just kept putting them out there because they were either highly touted coming out of college or they were good practice players. And it's just so stupid. Saleh's such a likable guy, but he's just losing him.
I'll tell you what, when he's eventually fired, he's welcome to the Lions, because I think he's a great defensive mind. I think the players love him. I just think he's had a bad hand here with the Jets getting this awful quarterback who's going to end up pretty much ruining his career. At this point, like, at least Rex Ryan, for as stupid and as clowny as he was willing to do like the wildcat and just do random ass shit to try to get the ball moving. He brought in Tebow. He did weird stuff. I just feel like the Jets are unwilling to try some of that. What's up, Jared?
You have Breece Hall and Delvin Cook, who has lost a step in the backfield, and you give them each collectively like 7 carries a game.
Yeah.
And you expect the team and the fan base not to turn on you. It's a recipe for disaster.
No rushing touchdowns, right? Out of either of those guys all year.
One fullback for the Jets has a touchdown, but neither running back.
If you're the Jets, run the ball 50 times a game.
They're also built to run the ball 50 times a game. Their defense is like stout enough and also young enough to play a bunch of to play a while on the field. And they should run. You're 100% right. They shouldn't throw the ball. They should run the wing T offense. They should run Air Force's offense. They'd probably do all right. They waste the clock. They win the time of possession and then try to win a game 13-10. I'm on Jared's side on this one too.
Titans and Falcons do it every week, and they're both have been competitive teams despite not having star power at the quarterback position.
And it's not like they ask like a guy like Ritter. They're not asking that guy to do that much. They're not asking Ritter to throw 30, 40 times. But for some reason, they asked Zach Wilson to do it. It's confusing.
It's bad coaching.
Yes, it is. I mean, the Jets are a nightmare in their own right. My dad is like texting me every day, like breaking down. He texted me, "Who is Trevor Siemian today?" And I was like, "Oh no."
The future starter for the Jets, buddy. Get ready. He will start.
They're going to be wearing Trevor fucking Siemian shirts. Remember the Mike fucking White shirts? They're going to start wearing the Trevor fucking
Mike
Siemian
White's
shirts.
a legend. That's actually that in 5 years, you're going to see a Mike White Jets shirt, and you're going to be like, that's a great jersey.
Did you guys see that Mike White had more fantasy points last week than like 12 of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL or something like that?
He's in a good system. Yeah.
Yeah. Robbie Chosen Anderson.
Oh my God. Yeah. When I saw he had one too, I also had to explain that to Rachel. She was just sitting there like on her phone the entire time while I was watching football. And she was like, I don't get it. His name is Chosen. And I broke it all down for her. But let's get to our 2-point plays here. Miami Dill. What do you think?
I think this I actually think this is kind of crazy. I'm taking Dolphins over 25.5 points.
Pretty faster, Mikey. Letting him go first.
Why?
Relax, Jason. Dolphins over 25.5 points. They have 130 points in 3 games. And you're telling me they're not going to score 25.5? That's unbelievable to me. It's also like there's a decent chance this game's a shootout. It's not going to be. It's going to be close enough where teams are going to have to score. I know Jared's big on the defenses this week for both teams, but I just don't see it being like anything under than maybe 60 total points in this game. So I think Dolphins over 25.5 is a mortal lock.
I think it's very interesting. I don't know how it'll play out, especially when you have 2 divisional rivals who are very good teams. I have the Bills-Dolphins over in general written down as a very fun bet. That's not on my card. But the Bills' defense has been this after, even week 1, they've been on an absolute tear. I think last week they had 9 sacks and 5 turnovers and let up 3 points in garbage time. It was against the Commanders, but the Commanders have been doing okay. That's a professional football team. Their wives and children are at the game. They still held them to that. They've had, I think, a touchdown allowed on 5% of their drives. It's the second lowest in the league behind the Browns. They're a good defense, and the Dolphins' defense is very solid too. I mean, did they let up an astonishing 20 points last week? Yes, they did. But I still respect them as a unit. Christian Wilkins is definitely one of the players I least look forward to playing every year. So, could this? I don't know how the game's going to go at all. Honestly, it's not on my card. I don't Are the Bills and Dolphins each going to score 40 points? That's definitely possible. Is it also possible they have a game that goes 19-22? I think that's also possible.
This is not shitting on the Bills because I think the Bills have a good defense, but you guys have played the Jets, the Commanders, and the Raiders, who are 3 of the top 8, 7 worst offenses. That's tough to tell how that good they are. I think it ends up being a shootout. I think it's a high scoring football game.
People would be surprised to hear me and Dylan had very civil conversations over the weekend when we were together. And then as we started, I'm like, I wonder if Dylan's going to be a fucking cock sucker on this show.
You just made that up. We've never had a civil conversation about football. I don't even talk to you about football when I'm with you outside of this. So I don't know what you're talking. It seems like you made that up.
That's right. I forgot. Every time I asked you at the football game we were at what you thought of the football game you were watching, you would change the subject to finance.
I was drinking summer shandies, dude. I was all over the place.
Yeah. Mikey, do you know what a summer shandy is?
Isn't it like a lemonade drink?
It's a summer beer. It's a
light ale or something like that.
It's a lighter ale. It's scrumptious. And I
that would be my 3-point play. You got to try one of these. They're unbelievable.
Wait, do you guys know those yellow Genesees? They're like the
Kolsch's. Yeah. They're really,
oh my
cool.
God. I have
Steve
one of those.
All week.
Dude, I had one of those Memorial Day weekend, and I haven't really been drinking all summer because I've been training for the marathon. I think about that fucking Kolsch once a day, and I'm having it again this weekend because I'm going to Bills Dolphins. I'm visiting my brother, my buddy, up north.
They might not have it. They stopped doing it right at the end of the summer.
He stocked up on some.
Okay, it's the best summer drink. It's the best.
Oh my God, it's divine.
Ruby Red and summer shandies are my 2 favorite. They're very similar. So if you like the Ruby Red, you'd like the summer shandy. If listeners out there, if you can find a summer shandy, I would recommend one.
And who produces
Bleep it out the whole time.
Who makes a summer shandy? Who is it?
It's not Lagunitas, but it's someone that looks like Lagunitas.
I don't know.
Interesting.
You can look it up.
Do you want me to get my pick while you're looking it up, or
no? It's Linguingels, something German.
Nice, dude. You can't pronounce anything. You're so fucking stupid.
That was a good one, Miami Dill. Really, really good joke. 2-point play. I'm gonna take Vikings -3.5, -3.5 versus the Panthers. Bryce Young, from what I know, is out again this week. Andy Dalton looked decent last week. I don't anticipate that happening again. You hardly ever see these backups put multiple games together that are impressive. Usually want the backup to come in, win a game. He didn't do that, but he played like he could have, right? So I don't think he's going to perform the way he did. You also have the Vikings who are 0-3, and while they aren't, they're like we were saying earlier, their luck has run out. I don't think they are an 0-4 team. I think they handle the Panthers pretty well, who I think are sneaky one of the worst teams in the NFL. So yeah, I like the Vikings. I like the Vikings handedly.
I think the weapons over in Carolina are incredible. The fact that they really were just like, yeah, Adam Thielen's our wide receiver one, and we have a little midget boy playing quarterback.
Nice.
I don't know how they just rolled that out and expected to win NFL games. And I don't hate Young, but he didn't look good when he was out there, really. So it's like, do you think it's like a 50-50 he plays, or you think it's like pretty confident he's not?
I haven't seen the reports, but I heard last week it would be a couple weeks.
Wow.
And like, why would you rush him out there? Right.
True.
I agree. I think Vikings win by a lot. I think it's a blowout. But I do like Bryce Young. I think you gotta look at Bryce Young like you looked at Trevor Lawrence like year one, where it was like people were trying to say he wasn't good, but it's like, it's not like they have a good offensive line. They have no run game. I think Miles Sanders is terrible. And then they have zero weapons. So I'm high in the Bryce Young train for the future. But yeah, this week, no, I don't even care if Bryce Young plays. I think the Vikings win by a lot.
Yeah.
If you're like a Panthers fan, I wonder if you'd rather just have him sit just for like a game, like just come back healthy. Like, what's the point of rushing him out? There's a ton of season left for him to, learn and take snaps, get live reps. And then you got a motivated ass fucking Vikings team that have something to play for. Like, yes, it's a very slim chance that they can make the playoffs, but this is a new NFL where more teams make the playoffs than ever before, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Your division's funky too. Like all those division games could go, well, other than the Bears, all those division games could go one way or the other. So if the Vikings got lucky, they're going to play one-score games probably against you guys. If they can get lucky against the Lions and the Packers, who knows? But right now, it's not looking good.
And God forbid the Lions lose on Thursday. That just even makes the division more messy, because if the Lions win, we're like kind of the clear-cut, like in the lead, at least for the division. But if we lose, it just makes the whole division a little muckier. And if the Vikings can tell themselves, hey, listen, we win this week, we're in this. So honestly, if you are thinking about Vikings, I might consider waiting until Friday to make that bet, see the result of that Thursday game. But honestly, I don't even think you need to do that. I do think the Vikings are a clear step above. I think the Vikings had a lot of luck last year, but they're a good football team, at least offensively. They can throw the ball with anyone.
Everyone knew the Vikings were deep down when the Giants were a betting favorite going in against them wild card weekend. It was no secret,
Yeah, it's crazy to even remember that happened. At some point, do we need to start giving Kirk Cousins a little more respect, or is it fine?
Yes.
I'm starting to lean that way, that I think he kind of gets a little, because obviously there's all the memes. Oh, he can't play in prime time, but damn, is that guy good pretty much every single week.
Yep. Kirk should be the NFL frontrunner if we were actually looking at ball and didn't account for stats. He is playing as well as any quarterback. It's crazy that they haven't won. I haven't watched all the Vikings tape, obviously, but I never thought he was the problem in the Vikings-Chargers game.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he's for what it's worth, the fantasy QB1 right now, which obviously isn't everything, but it's sort of indicative of a performance in some way. So
he has the best stats.
Yeah.
That's just simply not true, but okay. He has 30 more. He has 30 more yards and one more touchdown than Tua. I think Tua's completion percentage is better, and Tua doesn't play the fourth quarter most games because we're winning by so far.
That's true. That's actually a good argument that Tua isn't literally playing in half the game because they're winning.
He threw 26 passes yet last week. He had more touchdowns than incompletions. 26 passes. That's unbelievable.
Insane.
I mean, how many? I bet Kirk threw 50.
If you're a Denver fan, do you just want them to move the team? They have that horrible QB contract, and they have what the fuck is Sean Payton coming in. The defense, you don't do that if you're a defense unless you've given up on your coach, pretty much.
They traded for Sean Payton, didn't they?
Yeah. Basically, yeah. They had to give away picks, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Insane. They got the Super Bowl though. If I'm a Denver, I would rather be a Denver fan than a Dolphins, Bills, or Lions fan, just because they got the Super Bowl 7 years ago, and that would be enough for me at this point.
Yeah, that hurts.
I take 100 losing seasons. I take 100 losing seasons after that just to get that one Super Bowl.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I agree.
I hate to hear it, but you're probably right.
Yeah.
All right, my 2-point play, just because I lollygagged and got us into random conversations, is going to be the Jags -3 versus the Falcons. I understand right now the Jags are a pretty unlikable team, just losing to Houston, and then playing a pretty sad game versus Kansas City. But I think I already made the case that Kansas City's defense is better than people are giving them credit for. And then for some reason, Houston always beats Jacksonville. It's so weird. It doesn't really matter how good or how bad these teams are. Houston always beats Jacksonville. I'm kind of just throwing those two games out and not stressing them and trying to remember that this Jaguars team had Kansas City on the ropes in the playoffs. And what I think is important about the Falcons on the other side of this game is that the Lions kind of put out a script on how to beat Atlanta. You defend the run, you put the game in Ritter's hands, because Bijan can't break 2 tackles every single play. He could do it, and he's a fucking amazing player, but even he's human. He's gonna get tired. I mean, the Lions really made them look. I think they had like 188 total yards of offense or something like that. It was ugly. And then the Jags, yes, they lost to Houston, and I understand you want to get like reactionary over that, but one, I would say Houston's looked better than expectations, and two, Jaguars had a comically bad game. They dropped a touchdown from Ridley. They had a field goal miss, a field goal block, a kickoff return for a touchdown. Trevor Lawrence threw a pick. You had a fumble lost by Agnew. I don't think all of that calamity is going to happen again in this Falcons game, in my opinion.
I agree.
Sick return, by the way. That was the big guy, right?
I actually didn't see it, but I was just going through the stat sheets and just I noticed that there was a kickoff return. I'll have to go check that out after the pod. But I mean, I when I think of that, yes, it's exciting. Yes, I love it like when it happens for my team. But when I'm looking at a matchup, that's not predictive. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't say like, oh, the Jags are going to give up another one next week. Like pretty like I don't know. That feels like just noise to me, you know, in the long run. What do you think, Dill?
I think you're 100% right. I think the Jags are a better football team than they're playing, and I think the Falcons are a worse football team than they're playing.
Mm-hmm.
Like so, this is a good like week 4 steal a pick because I think if these teams played week 15, it might be 10 points the spread. So yeah, I think you're getting it. I think it's a good pick.
I wish I made a point of doing this before the season started, but I'd love to know what this line was in like August. You know, because I think the Jaguars have played pretty bad, so this line has gotten closer and closer. But I'm sure during August it was at least 4.5, maybe 5.5. So I think you're getting a discount here on a Jaguars team that is playing worse than they actually are. But I don't want to dwell too long on that. I want to get to our locks. Dill, let's hear it.
My lock of the week is quite exciting. It's quite exciting for you guys. It's quite exciting for me. It's quite exciting for anybody listening because this might be the last time in your lifetime that you can take the Dolphins at plus money.
Yeah.
We might not be underdogs for the rest of your guys' lives. And that's weird to think about, but to get a team like this at plus money is unbelievable. Don't take the points. Don't be stupid. Dolphins money line. We're going to go into Highmark Stadium. Very cool name. Third time you guys switched your field name in like 4 years. We're going to go to Highmark Stadium, and Bills fans by probably 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter are going to start funneling out. Those fucking fat people are going to file out into their 2006 Honda Civics. They're going to barely get into their car. They're going to drive drunk home and probably get in an accident and kill somebody. And the game's still going to be going on. That's what's crazy. I would say bet Mike White to over on a touchdown. Who knows? There's going to be so much time for us to just do what we want. To get this team at plus money is unbelievable. Mikey, I was in Minnesota last week seeing Jared.
Mm-hmm.
No joke. This is not a joke. It sounds like I'm making it up. Middle of the night, probably 3 a.m. I was sitting in the guest room just watching, Dolphins highlights, and I could hear weeping in the other room. Like
really?
A quiet weep. So I walk into the room to put my flashlight on. Jared curled up in the corner crying. And I didn't know what was going on. I was worried maybe he has a girlfriend now. Unbelievable. I don't know what she's doing. I thought something maybe happened. So I said, hey, what's wrong? He looked up to me, tear coming down his eye, and he said, I'll never have what you have.
Wow.
And I immediately go, I don't know. I'm a very successful guy. I have a lot of things, a lot of items, very nice cars. And I said, what is it? And he said, a quarterback that can do what your quarterback does. And then I started crying.
You
And
threw over the middle.
I gave him a hug. And Dolphins plus 122 seems like kind of a mortal lock this week. That's my lock of the week.
I like how vulnerable Jared's able to get with you. I don't really have that relationship with him, but I'm happy he has someone like that in his life. You know, it's important.
This guy's such a fucking snake, man. Talking so nice to me, buttering me up all weekend.
I didn't say anything to you all week about
Like,
football.
oh, Bills have a good team. Bills look really good. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills win the Super Bowl. Josh Allen, very respectable quarterback. He can definitely win it all. Saying all this nice stuff to me off the camera. And now that the camera's on, he just turns. He's Miami Dill. Miami Dill is a fucking scumbag.
You're as dumb as everybody says you are, dude.
Dirtbag.
You are just as dumb as everybody says you are.
No respect for the kid. It's crazy the things that come out of this guy's mouth.
Jesus Christ. The way you turn the narrative is unbelievable. It's
how you stop Tua? You know how you stop Tua? You put all 11 guys in the middle of the field, and you tell him throw it anywhere outside the numbers, and he'll miss.
The only way you stop Tua was with a Matt Milano late hit. That's how you stop Tua.
That was not even a bad hit. That's the new thing. Dolphins dirty on Twitter are such scumbags. I don't know if you see these guys, Mikey, whining all week. Matt Milano's a dirty player. Oh, the Bills are bitches. All this shit. Matt Milano's a great guy. He's handsome as hell. Nothing bad about this guy.
He is a good guy. I only get Bears TikToks or Bears like content. I don't know why, but my feed thinks I'm a Bears fan. So it went from Fields MVP to burning jerseys already. It's actually wild.
I can't stand Dolphins Twitter. I agree. Dolphins Twitter is crazy.
You're Dolphins Twitter.
I'm not a Dolphins Twitter.
Life.
No, dude, this is simply not true, dude. I don't make up bullshit. But Dolphins Twitter has confirmed that Kyle Pitts is going to the Dolphins about 3 different times this week.
Yeah.
They have confirmed that.
Oh my god.
I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about anything.
Make your pick, dude. You just keep talking.
Tua can't hit the sideline. He's not gonna hit the sideline. If they cover the middle of the field.
Why do you think every quarterback in the history of the NFL that's good has thrown to the sideline? Because it's impossible to throw over the middle. That's well known. That's why every time you get the sticks and man, you try to throw to the sidelines because it's the only way you can get yards. Not Tua, dude. The guy throws to nobody, and then the guy is there catching the ball. It's unbelievable. The anticipation is the craziest thing. He's got a lot of cool skills. Anticipation is the biggest one.
Game on the line. I'm not worried about it if Tua has the ball in his hands. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Did you watch the Chargers game? Did you watch the first quarter of the Broncos game when the game was on the line? They went up 35.
First quarter. Yeah.
That's a pretty good response. Did you watch the first quarter?
Okay. I have my lock. Unless Mikey, you have anything you want to say, if you want to pick a team.
What do you mean? Between you two?
Yeah, and choose carefully.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say this. I would be nervous to be playing Miami this week. And I'm going to the game.
Play the Bills at home.
They just scored 70 fucking points. Do you remember last year when we were taking Denver every week for the under because their defense looked unbelievably good? That team,
really good.
They just hung 70 on that team. I don't know. It's scary.
Well, Broncos defense might be historically bad. I think they let up like 17 points against the Raiders, and that's saying a lot.
I do think this game is. I mean, I don't think I'm saying anything like world shattering here. I think it's the Bills' defense versus Miami's offense this week. I don't think that's like a really interesting thing to say necessarily, but I think if you guys can somehow make Tua uncomfortable, I think you guys have a chance. It's gonna be. I mean, you guys are favored, so it's obviously like going to be a close game. You're at home. I mean, it's funny. You guys are -2.5. And from my understanding now, Vegas doesn't really give home field advantage to 3 anymore. My understanding is now it's only 2.5 for home because they just don't think it means that much anymore. So it's pretty much saying you guys are dead even. So it's a flip of a coin. I hope you guys win.
Simply about it on this show, but clearly not. So I got nothing else to say to this fucking scumbag about his.
I'm going to be in Buffalo with all my Buffalo friends. Like, I hope you guys win. I don't want to go and see you guys lose. It'd be fucking miserable. I hope you guys win. I would be scared to be playing Miami this week. That's all I'm saying. Like, they look good. They look good.
They look all right.
All right.
So my
What do you
lock,
like, Jared? Oh yeah, you have your pick. Okay. Okay.
yeah, let's get off this scumbag. My lock of the week: Texans Steelers under 42.5. Steelers defense might be the best unit in football. Way better than that shitty Florida team's offense.
Mhm.
TJ Watt, best player since sliced bread. He's a superstar. They just have stars all around. And then on the other side of the ball, Matt Canada can't coach his way out of a grocery store.
Mhm.
They had -9 yards in the fourth quarter versus the Browns week 2, and they won the football game because TJ Watt had a strip sack fumble for a touchdown. That's what needs to happen for them to score points. I don't have their stats from last week, but I heard it was more or less the same. And then you got the Texans on their side of the ball. Bad team, in my opinion, playing up right now. You got a rookie quarterback going against the best unit in football. I think he's going to look bad. I'm not saying he is bad. I think he's bad, but I think he's been playing well. I think he'll look bad this week, regardless of how good he actually is. The unit is that good. And then, I just don't think the Steelers. I don't think the Steelers can score 2 touchdowns. Najee Harris is a bum, and Jonathan
That's for
Johnson's
sure.
out. Fuck both those teams.
Yeah, I like this one. I do. I really can't argue this one. I can't even find like a little like straw man argument to throw at it because I think Stroud has had a fun time in the NFL, and I think this could be, they always say like the welcome to the NFL moment. I think TJ Watt is going to put him like 3 feet under the ground at one point in the game, hitting him so hard. This one should be very boring to watch, and I think the other
Jared,
is good.
do you think TJ Watt's better than Micah Parsons?
It's
a conversation.
I would say yeah, but I also wouldn't fight too hard if someone disagreed. TJ Watt's been doing it longer, and
I just mean right now.
Worse.
You would have one player on your team right now. If you're taking one of those 2 guys, who are you taking?
Does age matter?
No, 1 year.
Yeah,
TJ
let's say
Watt.
like the
Probably
Bills
TJ
could
Watt.
just. Yeah,
Wow.
I would
Okay.
probably pick Watt as well, and I like Parsons. Like I'm not trying to.
I don't like that
think
Parsons likes the feet.
unbelievable. What's that?
He's a foot guy.
Oh, I know. What a beast, dude. You see, him and Tyreek got big beef right now. Micah told his daughter that he's getting her cheetah for her birthday. What an idiot.
Yeah, that's a flex.
Wait, so like, what's up with the foot correlation with like good
So,
defense? Because you had like
there's-
Rex Ryan, he loved feet, good
Yeah,
defensive.
but he was a shithead.
Of course, Rex Ryan likes feet. Look at that guy. I knew he liked feet before they even said it.
Right. Yeah, it's just locker room distraction. You got him. I just don't want that.
Mhm.
And when you get to that level, you need to slice somehow, and that's the tiebreaker for me.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I think the mainstream media is afraid to bring up, and that's why Slick Picks is where you have to go, because we're the only ones who are going to bring up the fact that his foot fetish could kind of throw him off his game potentially. It could be locker room material.
Get some big billboards up, distract them.
All right, Jared. I've apparently really given you a hard time today, just giving you my honest feelings about this game. So here's your chance to dunk on me. I said I was not going to bet on Detroit all year. Detroit -1.5 versus Green Bay Thursday Night Football. We win and we take the sole control of the NFC North. And I think the Lions' strength in their defense is their run defense. And the Packers run the 10th most run plays as compared to pass. Love has looked weirdly good, but I think some of it is just he's going to come back to earth. Like his 7.3% touchdown percentage, that's like Hall of Fame Tom Brady. Even like I don't even think Brady averaged that for his career. Like he's going to come back to earth here. The Packers have also been one of the luckiest teams in the league. Their opponents, they have the most penalty yards going in their favor, if that makes sense. Like their opponents are committing the most penalties, over 90 penalty yards per game. And then, look at their 2 wins. They beat the Bears. Congratulations. I'm not going to throw you a parade for that. And it took a miracle comeback against the Saints without their QB in their other win. I'm not crazy about this. I think the Packers are good. Like I'm not trying to bury them, but it's a small line here. And Campbell has led Dan Campbell, the Lions head coach, has led us to 3 straight wins versus the Packers. We held Atlanta to 188 yards. We're giving up the 5th fewest yards on the ground. Our defense looked very shoddy the first 2 weeks, in my opinion. Last week, we got 7 sacks. And then I mentioned the stat I wanted to give about Brian Branch at the very, very beginning of the pod. It's coming back now. Since 1994, Branch is the first offensive back to have 10 plus tackles, 3 tackles for a loss, and 2 pass defended in 1 game. He was special last week. And I think he will be good enough to get at least 5 tackles this week and hit the prop. That's going to help the Lions cover by 1.5 versus Green Bay. Jared, here's your chance. Dunk on it. Go nuts.
No, I will. I choose mercy here. I understand. I just need to warn you that you're putting a lot of eggs in one basket here in terms of your sanity and your happiness. When you bet on your team, like the Bills aren't on my card because I don't need the double jeopardy in my life. I already have enough going on. I'm already sad all the time. I don't need to be triple sad. But objectively, I think the Lions are a better team. I think Jared Goff is cooking with all the gas in the world, and I think Dan Campbell's a great coach. Sam Laporta looks like everything he was supposed to be and more. I like the team. I always have liked the team, but it's gonna be a good game.
It is, and like, stop me if this is crazy. It is going to be a gamble because if it pays off, man, will I be feeling good on Friday morning. Holy Lord, will I be feeling good. And if they lose, that gut in my mouth is going to be a shotgun. And I told Rachel after the Seahawks game, and she was legitimately pissed at me. She was away actually in Buffalo of all places. And I said, by the way, when I kill myself, it's going to be in the tub because I'm a gentleman and I don't want to make a mess. She was pretty upset by that because apparently that was too far and too graphic and too realistic.
Too specific.
Yeah. She was like, Mike, that's like weirdly descriptive about how you're going to kill yourself. So yeah, the Lions better win.
You're going to kill yourself. They really do.
Yeah,
they don't understand the highs and lows of football.
One day they will.
I haven't had a low in so long. But I think the Lions win by a lot. I agree. I think the Packers are fugazi. Did you say that the Packers are averaging 90 penalty yards against them a game? 90?
Like not like they're gaining 90 penalty yards. Yeah. Yep.
90?
90 per game. They have 270 on the season.
That's a lot. That's a big number. I mean, what is average? 28, 30, something like that?
I could pull it up right now, but like it's not that much. Let me see.
Yeah, that's wild. I don't think the Packers are that good either. I don't think Jordan Love's that good. But
we'll see.
Lions by $1 billion.
Lions by $1 trillion.
Give me 2 seconds.
Always trying one up.
Oh, we got a filibust here. Do you want to admit that you were nice to me over the weekend while he's filibustering?
It's around 55.
I feel like you're trying to coerce me because you think that like I care what people think, and I need to say that I was nice to you so it doesn't look like I'm always mean to you, but that's just not true. I will say this: Jared was a nice host, and he did bring me to Raising Cane's. So shout out Raising Cane's, sponsor the show.
When I visited Jared in Chicago, he was also a 10 out of 10 host. Definitely good at that. Good at hosting a podcast as well. He's a great host.
Not true.
I do host the show. I do host it. Yeah.
We're co-hosts. You host.
I put on Google reviews how bad he is. He's like Chris Collinsworth. He's like the Chris Collins of the show.
Love me, hate me, talking about me. That's all I need to hear.
I'm not talking about you. I was talking about somebody else.
You were talking about Jason.
Good catch. Good catch.
I do think the Jason bit was so good. I have it. I'm just gonna give you
that funny.
I wasn't trying to do a bit. I forgot what his name was. I don't listen to the show that much because I don't want to listen to his shit. I try to listen to only you, and then I mute the part where he talks. Thought it was Jason. Jason's a better name than Jared. Jason Sanders, Dolphins kicker. Guy sucks.
He's the only liability. Quarterback. Go back and forth.
Okay. I don't got anybody else.
Jared, do you remember ASBO, the club we used to be a part of in Albany together?
Yeah.
The guy who leads ASBO now is Jake Sarlo. Any relation?
Yeah. Did you just give out my last name on the podcast like that?
What do you mean? People know who you are. What do you think? Like people don't know who you are?
Yeah, it's Jared Sarlo. He lives on Colfax Street in Minnesota.
Oh, I'm looking at this guy. Nah.
No,
He's
not
my blood. He's not my blood.
yeah. I didn't look up a
I don't
picture of
like
him.
it. I don't like it.
I'll let him know. Because he keeps emailing me, and I keep telling him to take me off the email chain. And he keeps being like, "All right, I'll do it," and then I get the next meeting invitation. So I had it up to here with Jake Sarlo.
Shout out Sarlos. I
Yep.
used to have a guy in Italy with the last name Sarlo. I'd never met him in my life, but on my birthdays, he would write me messages in Italian.
Did you translate them, or did you just kind of toss them?
If I did, I don't remember.
Yeah,
I
I'm
was
sure
like
they weren't that interesting.
16.
Any last words here before we wrap up the pod between you two? Just thoughts on this weekend? Anything you want to let off your
Yeah,
chest?
handshake emoji.
Yeah, let's see if we can
Yeah,
find
here
one.
it is.
I'm not
That's
handshaking.
the laughing emoji because you're a fucking joke, buddy.
Okay, I got one last thing to say before the podcast. Jared lives at
So Miami Dill actually just gave out Jared's address on a show, so I'm going back in and editing that out to protect Jared's privacy for at least a couple more weeks. Maybe next time Miami Dill's on, I'll just let him rip it.
on my Twitter. I'll be posting Jared's address on my Twitter if you want to go there and see it.
I can't stop him from doing that. Thank you everyone for listening. Enjoy the games this weekend.